English? Very good. See, if you want a good job, like Sir has been telling you about, English is very important for you. So, we communicate in different ways. You have been communicating beautifully by sitting in the chairs. But that is not enough. You have to communicate in various other forms also. Have you seen the picture of Vivekananda, the huge statue outside? Does it communicate anything to you? Yes or no? Now, what does it communicate to you? Very good, it communicates confidence. Today, when you're going home, you just check what all this statue communicates. Many of you might say, Madam, it doesn't talk. So how can it communicate? That is not the only method of communication. Please remember that unless we communicate well, we cannot succeed in anything, including our career. so energetic students. Excellent. Now, when we use the language, we improve. Have you seen a small child learning a language? You know, first 1 year, the child doesn't speak at all, only listens. Then the child starts speaking, all wrong. You know, mispronunciation, no grammar, nothing is known. The child doesn't know how to read and write. Only after 3 years, first time it learns to read, then slowly to write. But we don't have so much time. I can't say that you will learn a language in the next 5 or 10 years. Don't you want instant English? You know, just now you want. Like instant coffee we want in the morning. Isn't it? Can you wait for 10 years for learning communication and earning your livelihood? No. You need a job today. So how will you improve your communication? This is the second point which I'm going to mention. Communication improves by improving language. So how are you going to improve your language in order to communicate better? Are all of you here with us? Some are still sitting on chairs. Let me continue. Those of you who are coming just now will ask the others. Remember that by telling them, those who came late, you are getting benefit. They are getting benefit certainly, but you are getting much more benefit. Swami Vivekananda used to say that if a person takes help from you, you must thank that person. Usually we say, if I help you, you must thank me. Vivekananda is not saying that. If you help another person, you must also thank that person, because not many people accept our help. So these who are coming now, if they take your help, you must be very grateful to them, because they are not only learning but teaching you also. So let us come back to the point I mentioned. Do you remember? Importance of language in communication. How will you improve your English? Now there are 4 skills which we call as communication skills. Skill number 1 is listening. It is called LSRW, just like a mathematical formula. Many of you know already what LSRW means. First is listening, second is speaking, wonderful, third, great, and fourth, writing. That is very, very good. See how much we know already? But our knowledge doesn't help us because we don't practice. You know, this is the problem with us. If you go anywhere outside India, ride, then you don't learn. When we were learning to walk, we fell down many times. Suppose we felt shy. Today, if we fall, we feel very shy. We look around. Did anybody see me? No problem. When we were learning, we fell. We didn't feel anything. Today, when we are learning English, don't feel upset. Don't feel angry if somebody laughs. So speak to yourself minimum 5 times or 5 minutes. Repeat what you want to say. If you get very happy, speak to yourself. Today I'm happy because this is the reason. Or tell yourself, today I'm very sad. This is the reason. Very good. Speaking to yourself is a wonderful therapy and it teaches you English also. Check up your structures, your pronunciation, your vocabulary. If you can't check when you're speaking, record it like it is getting recorded now. I can listen and see what mistakes did I make while I was speaking. So recording is wonderful to find out mistakes. Then reading. You know, we don't read anything at all. On the road, there are enough examples of English for you to learn from, but we don't look at them. So from today, start reading. Again, controlled reading. Take 1 page every day or 1 column of the newspaper. Read it loudly, minimum 5 times. Now you will say, this madam is mad. Something is wrong with her. Everything she says 5 times. Why am I saying it? Because your eyes are like the photographic camera, you know. When you look at the page the first time, nothing much happens. When you look again and again, those structures get recorded in your computer, which is in the head. You know, endless GB computer. It doesn't have a limited hard disk, unlimited hard disk. But all the files where you want to store English are now empty. The files are empty. They are waiting to be created. You are creating. Listening and reading is storing English in your mind. Speaking and writing is practice. So then you sit down, write 1 page. Whatever comes to your mind. Language generated by your mind. That is what is important. So when you do these 4 exercises, remember the 3 points. When you're speaking, check. Are you making many mistakes? Very good. Initially, we might not know that we are making mistakes. Then only we feel discomfort. My English is not good. That is what I might feel. Then after speaking for 10 days or 20 days, you will start recognizing your mistakes because you are listening to correct English, you're reading correct English. That means your mind is learning correct English. Then you'll say, oh, I made a mistake. That is step number 2. First step is you know that your English is not good. Second step, you can identify your mistake. And third step is when you have learned little more, you can correct your own mistake. So this is the first process. After analyzing, the first process of learning is by improving your English. Remember that by joining number of courses in English, you cannot learn as well as you can learn individually. But for this, what you need is motivation. It's very boring to practice alone. You say, oh, today I won't do it. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes. Again you say, oh, not today, not today. Next week. You know, as though you are checking up which is a good day, which is a good time. All God's days are good. All the time, 24 hours God has given us is excellent time. Please don't delay. Start it today. Will you do that? Very good. Now let us move to something else. So the first thing which I told you is, after analyzing communication of others, try to improve your own communication by improving your language. Now it is not enough to know good language. There's a very interesting play by a very famous English writer called William Shakespeare. Have you heard of William Shakespeare?
Very good. Some of you have heard. I don't expect that everybody would have heard. There is one play he wrote called The Tempest. In that, you know, one of the characters says that because you taught me language, I'm able to curse you. You know, language is used for cursing also. Language is not only used for politeness. So what is good communication? I'm happy that the word for your course is impact. Do you know what impact means? It's an English word. Impact is what we want our English to have. When you speak English, when you communicate, or when somebody does it, people should stop and look and say, oh, this is wonderful. I want to listen more and more to you. This is what they should say about all of you. Did you understand? That will be impact. How effective is your communication? So the next thing, apart from language, which you will do is, you will talk about, or you will think about, communication etiquette. Now, etiquette is a difficult spelling. You know, in English, spellings are horrible. Not like our mother tongue, which has correct spelling. Very scientific, phonetic language. English is not like that. You write one thing, you spell it another way. P-U-T, we say put. B-U-T, we don't say but. We say but. Why should we say but? Because English comes from many roots. So please don't curse it. It's a very beautiful language like our mother tongue. But it has its own rules. So when I pronounce the word etiquette, sir told you, you know, how people spell opportunity. So I got a little worried. Now, like a typical English teacher, I'm spelling out this to you. E-T-I-Q-U-E-T-T-E. Very often I have heard it's pronounced as etiquette. Etiquette. All those sounds are not pronounced. They are only for decoration. Have you seen plastic flowers? Yes or no? Do you know any difference between a plastic flower and a real flower? Okay. Now, many symbols in the spelling of English are like those plastic flowers. Very decorative, but if you go and smell them, no smell. If you want to pronounce them, no pronunciation. Therefore, you have to be a little careful. Communication etiquette, what does it mean? This also you must check up and learn yourself. How to speak with whom? Young students who are learning English today very often refer to their teachers as this guy or that guy. Nothing wrong, correct English. Today this guy didn't come for my class. You can't call your teacher as guy. You have to say that person or this person, which is informal. I either say sir or madam, not this guy. One thinks that by being very smart and learning these few pieces of vocabulary, one can learn English. That is not correct. First learn very basic, simple, standard English. Don't try to learn expressions like this guy or arre yaar. These things are not necessary in English at present. Then your English becomes like the anchors on Radio Mirchi. Do you hear? You know, for 1 minute if you hear Radio Mirchi, they don't speak one language. Minimum, they speak 3 languages. In 1 minute, imagine 3 languages. That only happens when all the 3 languages are good with you. Please don't try that. Let us learn simple, basic, straightforward English. Not an American accent, not a British or Australian accent. Basic Indian English. Standard Indian English, which is called as GIE, is a wonderful English accepted all over the world. We need not feel ashamed that English is not good. But most of us don't use this standard. You know, you go to Gujarat, English doesn't sound like English, it sounds like Gujarati. You go to Kerala, it sounds like Malayalam. You go to Bengal, it sounds like Bengali. You go to UP, it sounds like Hindi. We are not speaking standard Indian English. Therefore, the first point in communication etiquette is speak the standard in the way in which it is to be used. Communication etiquette also demands that you need to use a wider language vocabulary for yourself. I gave you example of vocabulary. Let me give you a simple example. Suppose you take a word like book, B-O-O-K. If I say, do you know the meaning of the word book? I'm sure you'll say, oh yes, such a simple word. Don't ask us book, we know, all of us know. But is it that only one meaning is there of this? You know, in the classroom, book is what you're writing or reading. Suppose you go to a police station, they will put you inside, booked. In the exam hall, if you're found cheating, booked, finished, over your exam. You go to a railway station and you say book, they'll give you a ticket. See the one word, how many things it is doing? Now, like that, we need to use the right vocabulary at the right time. Many words come to us very easily. A word like good or a word like nice. Suppose I say, how is the course? Nice. Immediate answer comes. How is your food? You know, most of my students are in the hostel. So hostel food they don't like. How is the food? Nice. Immediate reply comes, nice. How's this book? Nice. Anything you ask, the reply comes. How's the weather? Nice. Now, don't we have words for this? If I say, how's the course, can't you say interesting? Everybody knows the word interesting. If I say, how's the food, can't you say palatable or tasty or delicious? These are words which we know, but we are storing them at the back of our mind. Communication etiquette implies using the right language in the right context. A student wrote one-page letter to me full of big words. You know, it was beautiful English, big words, but not necessary at all. That whole letter I had to throw away because nothing was relevant in that. This is a point of communication etiquette. Many times, you want to ask somebody, where is their house? I have heard you asking, you mean some students, where is your residence? Residence is a big word. In informal English, we don't use such a word at all. In the ration card form or passport form, there's residence, you can give residence. That's a formal document. When you're talking informally, can't you say, where do you stay? Where do you live? Where is your house? Same meaning as where is your residence. So we should know what is the difference between the different contexts of English. This is called as communication etiquette. I'll give you a simple example from non-verbal communication. I'm not talking much about non-verbal today, only verbal. Suppose your teacher or your principal calls you to scold you. You know, you are standing with your eyes down, but you're making a sound. Does it communicate some message? That means you're irritated, isn't it? Are you not violating communication etiquette? Your senior is scolding you, you're supposed to feel sorry. Instead, you're feeling irritated, and that comes through communication. Therefore, language is much more powerful when it comes to communication. You have to be very careful in what to use and where to use. I'll tell you a small joke. All of you are looking very serious. Are you still comfortable? Yes. Okay. Does it make sense what I'm telling you? Yes. Will you practice? Very good. There was one person working in the office to whom the senior, the supervisor, wrote a letter saying, "Dear Padmaja, please get the files and come immediately." She took that letter to the boss's room and she threw that letter like that and said, "See, this man is calling me dear." Imagine. In English, the word dear doesn't mean anything bad. It is only a polite way of talking. We used to play some CDs for our students for learning English. One old lady loses her umbrella. She goes to the police station and the police say, "No, we have not found your umbrella." You know, umbrella is very important in England, not in India. So she says, "Oh dear." And the students got shocked. "Oh, this old lady is saying, 'Oh dear' to the policeman. How terrible." She is not saying "oh dear" in any meaning except exclamation. So the same word which is used for beginning a letter, where it means, just a way of addressing an appellation, similarly it means a question mark. "Oh dear" means "I'm surprised." This is what it means. The word hasn't changed, the usage has changed. These are all what is called as communication etiquette. We need to learn this. How to learn? By listening and reading. Remember that by telling you rules, I cannot teach you English. I can tell you hundreds of rules. Nobody remembers. I started teaching English before you all were born. And I have not succeeded in teaching anybody English by teaching rules. The only person who can teach you English is yourself. And the only manner in which you can learn is by individual effort, not by any other process. If you feel English is good enough for you, start learning today itself. Then we come to another point that is called as communication ethics. We spoke about communication etiquette. I gave you 2 or 3 examples. Communication ethics. That means when to say what and when not to say what. You can see some pictures behind me. Can you see? Can you see one lady's picture there? Sharada Devi, the Holy Mother. You know what she said? She said, if you want to speak an unpleasant truth, better you don't speak it. "Oh, you're a fool. Oh, you're a rascal." Why? Why unpleasant truth? Maybe it's a greeting. It's a wonderful way of greeting your friend. All right. But there is no need to be unpleasant unless we, think that it is useful. How polite are you in your conversation? English is a very polite language. Now, when we say, ethics means be polite. When you have made a mistake, you say sorry. We feel great difficulty in saying such a simple word. All of us know how to pronounce sorry, isn't it? We know how to spell sorry also. Do you have any problem? We know what the word sorry means. But when it comes to using it, we hate. Why should I say sorry? That fellow should say sorry to me. I'm not going to say sorry. Just for the want of a sorry on the road, huge traffic jams are made. Communication etiquette. You're going for your interview. There's a traffic jam because 2 fellows are not saying sorry, they are fighting. You get late, you lose the job. Isn't it terrible? Somebody is going in an ambulance. The ambulance person is trying to save life. Can't go because traffic jam. What are they doing? They are not saying sorry. So find out, how often are you saying sorry willingly? How often is the sorry necessary? How often it is deserved? Don't go and hit somebody and then say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Don't kill a person and say, "Don't get worried. I killed you. I'm very sorry." No use. In that context, sorry is not necessary at all. Don't do a thing which deserves a sorry. When you do it unwittingly, say sorry. This is very important part of what we call as communication ethics. Please, again another word which we don't use very often. You know, many of our languages do not have so many forms of please, thank you, sorry, etc. Because our culture is different. The British culture is little more formal than Indian culture. We are very warm, we are very emotional. They are slightly different. When we are learning their language, we are actually learning their culture also. So when we use their language, we need to do this. Suppose you go for an interview. Now all of you need to go for an interview. The interviewer asks you a question and you can't hear it properly. Don't ask, what did you say? You can say, please, could you repeat the question? You can say, I beg your pardon, which of course is a very formal way of saying. You say, sorry, I couldn't hear you, or I couldn't understand. Don't pretend as though you understood or you heard when you didn't. This also is, you know, honesty is communication ethics, very important. They ask you something, you answer something, you've lost your job before you answered also. So let us be very clear about what we want to say and how we want to say it. Communication etiquette and communication ethics are very important for using language. After learning very good language also, you might not be able to communicate effectively unless you keep these 2 points in mind. That which situation deserves what communication. Now, some qualities of a good communicator. Is my time up or do I have some more time? Okay. Some points of a good communicator. You know, always we have to appear for an entrance exam. So already entrance exam is over. Your entrance today was to evaluate other people's communication. That was the first thing you had to do. Now, after entrance exam, you join the course. Now, when the course comes, you have to again appear for a qualifying exam. So what is that which will tell you your communication is good? Now I have improved my communication. Now I have become an effective communicator. Now my communication has impact. Impact, don't forget the word impact. So what is that you will measure in yourself? Now again, you can note down significant points. Because we are learning from the English world, we are always learning, you know, in terms which are convenient to that language. So all C's, these are called as the C's of communication. Easy to remember, communication starts with a C. These words also start with a C. Point number 1, clarity. When you listen, you can only understand if the person is speaking clearly, isn't it? Now in this hall, I'm speaking very slowly because I'm not speaking to you one-to-one. When you meet me outside, suppose any of you meets me on the road near Secunderabad station bus stop, then can I speak so slowly? I have to speak much faster. In half sentences, I might not make a full sentence. Then what will happen? Clarity will suffer. So when you are listening, when you are speaking, reading or writing, judge how clear you are. When you listen, can you follow everything which is being said? Can you follow 80%, 60%, 50%? Please evaluate. Give yourself marks. You know, don't leave teachers to give you marks. Now give yourself your own marks. Keep a sheet. If you're very intelligent, keep a soft copy in your mind. When you're standing at the bus stop, when you're going to college, keep evaluating your English. Now you come, clarity. How much of clarity is there? If somebody asks you, do you want a cup of coffee? You can say, yes, I do. Or you can say, Both mean the same. Both mean exactly the same. Have you seen how much different the impact is? If I say, yes, I do, and if I say, the impact changes. Now, when you have come to impact, the impact of your communication is most important. Therefore, your communication should have clarity. Clarity for whom? For the person for whom that communication is meant. If you are speaking to somebody, you don't have to understand. You know, we often say, I spoke very well. Nobody can speak very well because it depends on how the others understood you. You spoke very well. Did the other person understand you? You know, we are so unclear. I'll give you an example of my own life. The mind is busy thinking something else. I'm telling the auto driver, go left, go left, go left. You know, what am I doing? I'm showing my right hand. What will that poor chap understand? You tell me, should he go left or should he go right? He doesn't know. Because my communication is bad. Now, I cannot blame the auto man by saying, you didn't understand. He didn't understand, not his fault. My fault that I'm saying something, I'm showing something else. Most of us do this. You know, another picture you can see behind, Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna used to say, whatever is in your mind should be on your lips also. So communication, we can make out the person's characteristics by communication. That's why they call you for an interview, to judge your personality, to see. But many of us tell beautiful lies, very conciseness. Conciseness, C-O-N-C-I-S-E-N-E-S-S. Those who know the spelling, please don't look at me angrily. That also is communication. I'm telling for those who don't know. If everybody knows, then I'm telling only for revision. You know, revision is very important for us. So you check up. I have spelt. Now, madam has given a spelling. Is it right or wrong? That way, if we keep checking ourselves, we improve. If we constantly think, I know or I don't know, we don't improve. We should be open to improvement. So conciseness means to the point, briefly, absolutely, in a manner which is understood. Somebody asks you, what is your name? Very often asked as, what is your good name? Good name is not a very polite way of asking. You know, in English, if you say, what is your good name? It means you are questioning a person's reputation. Good name means that have you done anything bad? What is your good name? That means I know that you have a bad name. Bad name means bad, you know, evil deeds. Now tell me, do you have a good one also? So although in politeness in our Indian languages we use good, if you want to be polite in English, say, please tell me your name. Could you tell me your name? May I know your name? English is a very polite language, but not what is your good name. Okay? Now come back to what I was saying. Suppose somebody asks you, what is your name? Would you start by telling them your great-grandfather's name first? See, we are very proud of our families, I understand. Great-grandfather, grandfather, father, me, then my, you know, another 14 generations. Wonderful. But when a person has asked you, what is your name? Give only your name. Not necessary to give anything else. Many of you might go for an examination called civil services. You know, afterwards you might look for a government job. In civil services, if they say 100 words, they mean 100 words. In Osmania University, when they say 100 words, it means from 100 to 1000. Anything is accepted. So the students come back and say, Madam, they disqualified me because for 100 words I wrote 200. Concise. When they say 100, write 100. When you have to speak for 1 hour, speak for 1 hour. Don't speak half an hour. Don't speak 1.5 hours. This is very important. You know, many of you will get jobs where you have to make oral presentations. Today it is a very popular form of communication in jobs. You will be given a laptop like this, you will be given a screen like that, go and make presentations. Don't you see in advertisements? You know, so many people are running to make presentation, then they make wonderful presentation. Recent advertisement has come, if you have seen. You know, after a lot of meeting, they decide on a slogan. Happy birthday to you. If you've seen this advertisement, you'll know what conciseness is. No need for so much problem. Say what you want to say clearly. Then you will have, they will give you only 3 minutes to sell a product. What will you do? If you take 30 minutes, your product is not sold. You have to take 3 minutes. You know, one problem which all of us have is we think that there is no limit to time. Of course, we believe in rebirth. You know, suppose I don't finish talking to you now, I can speak in the next 7 births to you. No problem, so I can continue speaking. Don't be like that. Time sense is most important in conciseness. How much is expected? If they expect you to speak for 4 hours, you know, from morning I had a class in distance education Osmani University. I was speaking continuously for 4 hours. There I'm expected. Suppose here I tell sir I want 4 hours, will he give me? No. I must finish what I have to say in 1 hour. This is called conciseness. The third point, very important, called courtesy. Again starts with a C. Courtesy. Politeness. Respect. Considering the other person. Communication is always a two-way process. We can't communicate alone. So, being polite to the other person. If you speak to another person carelessly by saying, oh, these people don't know anything, whatever I say is good. That is being discourteous in communication. We can't afford to be like that. So who are you speaking to? This you should keep in mind. You know? Another rule which you can apply to communication, although it applies better to public speaking, starts with H. All 3 words, starting with the alphabet H, humility, humor, and heart. These are also very good for communication. Humility. I know a lot. You can think. Self-confidence is very good. But self-confidence doesn't mean, you know, aggressiveness. Don't be like that. Humility. Humor. I told you 1 or 2 jokes. Do you remember? Good. Don't laugh now. You can laugh later. When I told the joke, not more than 50% laughed. Then I got the worry that whether the rest of the 50% understood or not. No problem. Humor. When we are speaking, no need to be very humorous all the time. Somebody fell down on the road, I laughed. Ha, 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 ha. Why did you laugh? You know, madam said be humorous. No, when somebody falls, please sympathize. Your friend comes and tells you an interesting joke. You scratch your head and said, no, madam said please be a little serious. So today I'm not going to laugh. My quota of laughter is Mondays only. Today is Tuesday, I can't laugh. You can't be like that. You need to mix, you know, very serious topic, 1 or 2 examples which are humorous. And then heart. Heart is what courtesy means. Your friend doesn't want to listen to you. You catch hold of that friend and make them listen. You know, there's a beautiful poem by Coleridge called The Ancient Mariner. The rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. The guest wants to go and have the wedding dinner. You know, beautiful dinner. This old man doesn't allow. He says, don't go for the dinner. Listen to my story. We should not do like that. Good communication deserves a heart. Now, all these are very easy for me to tell you, but very difficult to practice. But don't worry, we have one whole lifetime to practice. You are young. Start practicing today and continue to practice till the last breath of your life. Communication is needed even when we are breathing for the last time. So don't forget to practice. Unless we practice, we cannot benefit. Please remember. The watch is 5 minutes fast, so I took 5 minutes extra.
Today, I got at least 20 SMS that, no, not 20 SMS, 5 SMS that said total program in Telugu, I'll not come. So they missed it today, they missed something. They don't know. Trust, believe, faith on us, be with us up to 12th. We will give the best. ఇక్కడ నుంచి వచ్చేదే మీ వంతు, పంపించేది మా వంతు. మీరు ఇక్కడ నుంచి పోరు లాస్ట్కు, ఇక్కడ నుంచి పోరు మారిపోతారు. That is our guarantee. So, now I request CEO of Hyderabad Management Association, Kalal Prem, please come out of the days. Ma HMA Co CEO garu, may I request Prem, please present this token of love to ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, now what you have to do, are you ready? All right. Ma'am, they need some, your mail IDs, so they would like to ask you some questions sometimes. They will send you mails and also, ఇది మర్చిపోదు గట్టిగా అడగాలి మీరే.
Usually I use PowerPoint, which has my mail ID, and I can see some students who've already been with me who have my mail ID and my phone number. Please write down. You can call up also. When I'm in a class, I don't pick up my phone. At other times, you can talk. Mails you can send. Yesterday, I got a mail from a student from NIT whom we had taken about 5 years back. So you can imagine, as long as I'm alive, I'm there for you. Sumita 30 Sumita 303 number 3 and number 0 at gmail.com. Number 98492 59489. Okay? My name is Sumitha Roy. Half the name is there in the email, the other half, not very important.